And we are live. Welcome back. I'm glad that you didn't listen to our banter just a few minutes ago as we were getting this live set up. We're going to keep it clean on the show today, but we have some great information that we're going to be sharing with you. A couple really important questions. So, it doesn't matter what age you are because you're going to fall into one of these categories at some point in your life. And so, we hope that you really get something from this. So, why don't you kick us off, Jennifer, with the
All
first
right,
question?
cool. So we have two questions for this week. So first is about kids. We had a question come in. They're asking what are good movements for kids for their development and as they grow, just general exercises that they could do.
Yeah, really, it really depends on the age, but generally speaking, the best type of exercise for kids is just play. And so we don't really want to keep exercise too structured for kids. Number one, if it's too structured, they don't enjoy it. And the last thing that we want to do is we want to turn kids off of exercise, and we want them to find enjoyment with it and for it to be something that they commit to for the rest of their lives. And so doing things like play is really important. Plus, we have to be really careful about as a child is growing up building asymmetries. And so, for example, I played baseball when I was younger, but I did a lot of other stuff too. But if a kid is only playing baseball and that is their one sport that they're doing, they're building major imbalances because they're only using one side, they're only using one arm, they're swinging the same direction. It's very repetitive and very imbalanced. And so that can create deficiencies and imbalances that could last potentially a lifetime when it comes to development. And so you want kids to be playing in a wide range of sports, a wide range of activities, and things that move the body as much of through natural movement as possible. So some of my favorite things when kids are young, the playground. I mean, it sounds so silly, but climbing up ladders, doing the monkey bars, going down slide, running around, jumping, climbing up a pole and then sliding down it. All of those things are just incredible activities for kids. And I know that I'm a little partial here, but one of my all-time favorite sports for kids to get involved with is rock climbing. And I've written a post about this before, so I won't go into it in too much detail, but the the amount of coordination and balance and strength that it requires to get up a wall and to hold on to the wall, it's just absolutely incredible for kids development. The next sport that's great for kids is gymnastics, but we have to be really careful with gymnastics. So gymnastics is incredible when it comes to strength, balance, coordination, but what we have to be careful of is kids are very flexible when they're young and they're very bouncy. And so they don't exactly have the core stability. So we see a lot of injuries in kids, especially, I shouldn't say especially girls, but girls, we see it a lot when they're doing a lot of like extreme back bends or they're getting forced to stretch into extreme positions of extension. That can put a ton of pressure on the low back and create injuries down there. So we really want to make sure that if your child is doing gymnastics, it's phenomenal. It's one of my favorites, but make sure that they have a good coach and they're progressing according to their level to be able to create and maintain stability within all of the movements. Does that make
Cool.
sense?
That makes a lot of sense. We actually have a lot of kids. We're seeing a lot of kids right now in the practice, and it's nice to hear that they have different types of activities, especially now with the summer season coming up. So, yeah, that's actually great advice. So, you ready to move on to the next question?
Sure.
All
Hit me
right.
with it.
Next question is now for adults. What are the types of exercises that you should be prioritizing as you age? So, is it cardiovascular activities like running and all those explosive stuff, or is it muscle building? Which one of those two should you be prioritizing as you age?
Yeah, that's really a good question. And I hate that you're making me choose. This is like choosing between which one of your kids do you like better, do you love more? It's honestly, it's really important that, and I will give you an answer here, not just a politically correct one, but both of them are incredibly important. And it's very, very important that we work on strength as you age and also work on your cardiovascular system as you age. They have different benefits for different parts of the nerve system and different parts of the musculoskeletal system and for hormones and all that kind of stuff. They're both very, very important for different reasons. But if you told me, like, gun to your head, you have to pick one and that's it, I mean, it's fairly easy. I would absolutely go with strength. One of the main thing when you work on strength training, like squats, deadlifts, lunges, push-ups, pull-ups, rows, all those kinds of things, it just as far as longevity goes, what usually happens with people is, like, you can avoid walking long distances and running marathons, but you can't avoid getting up from a chair. You can't avoid getting out of a car. You can't avoid, if you had to be on the ground, getting up from the ground. If you're looking at traveling, most people can walk through an airport, even if it takes them a little while because they're not in great shape. But, like, you have to be able to pick your bags up and put them in the overhead bin and carry your groceries. Like, those are all quality of life things that require strength. Plus, one of the biggest things that helps with glucose disposal and regulating insulin and glucose is muscle. And so the more muscle you have, the more you're able to regulate your hormones better. And then the challenge is the thing that we lose the quickest as we age is muscle. And so muscle starts to break down, and it breaks down pretty rapidly as we get older, and it's very hard to maintain it. So you want to make sure that you have a very strong base when you're younger. And then as you age, you want to limit that muscle loss and that strength loss as much as humanly possible through eating enough protein and performing enough strength training. But again, I hate that you're making me choose, and you want to include strength training as well as cardiovascular training. And so if you were to ask me, what are the 3 types of things that we should do as we age? Number 1, strength training. Number 2, low intensity cardiovascular training, like zone 2 cardiovascular training. And if you still have the coordination for it, sprinting. Those are the 3 things that I would highly recommend.
No rock climbing in there?
I mean, I guess if we're talking about sports, yeah, rock climbing, mountain biking, those are all ways that you can get strength and cardio. Yeah, if you can do that, get up on the wall,
Yeah.
keeps you young.
Yeah, our plan is to be rock climbing until we can't anymore. So we'll do our best.
Yeah, I'd love to be on the wall when I'm in my 70s, maybe.
All right, I think that's all the questions that we have for the week. If you guys have any other questions that you would like us to discuss, some of these questions actually come from our patients throughout the week. But if you guys have questions, just post it below, send us a message, and we'll talk about it next week.
Awesome. Take care, guys.